guys, it's Brenda with Native Roots Salsa Company. I did some filming the other day and promised that I would film an intro because the other day it was a no makeup day. We did not want to do the hair or the makeup. Sometimes you just get up on the weekend and you just, it's not happening. But we did do some cooking and we made Entomatadas. It is a Rick Bayless recipe for the most part. And kudos to him. He does great Mexican food. True and authentic. But we followed his recipe, except for, of course, we substituted our salsa for the tomato component. So there are a few twists. It's a little different. It was delicious. We enjoyed our breakfast. We're gonna get right into this video. So here we go. Good morning, guys. It's Saturday morning on Easter weekend. We took the weekend off from the markets, which is highly unusual, but we needed a little downtime, some time to rest and catch up on some household chores and things like that. So this was the perfect weekend. So happy Easter. We're going to make some breakfast this morning. It is early. It's a no makeup day, guys. So when I do get my face on camera, forgive me, but it is a no makeup day. We're going to make some entomatadas. I will do an intro for this video as well. But the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of roast off this white onion, and I'm going to pan roast it. And I am going to roast some of these poor wrinkledy jalapenos that need to be used, and a couple of serranos, just in case I want to add a little extra heat. But we are going to be using some of our salsa for the tomato component here. You know how we roll. We'll switch it out with the salsa when we can. Then we're going to make the entomatadas, which will look a little bit like an enchilada, but they're going to be folded instead of rolled. And let's get started getting this onion sliced and in the pan and get it roasting. So this is the only ingredient that our fresh salsa does not have. It doesn't have onions in it. So I did want to add some onion to this. Now, if you don't have the salsa, you can always use canned fire roasted tomatoes to get the roast there. You can roast Romas if you want to do that. Our salsa already has garlic in it, so we're not going to add any extra garlic. I'll throw this in my cast iron skillet. You can also roast these in the oven on a baking sheet. Get everything done at one time. That's an efficient way to do it. And let me get this pan turned on over here. On about a medium heat. And I'm going to go ahead and clean that one up a little bit. Throw those in the pan. These look pretty good, yeah, except for that. And I'm going to throw that in the pan. So just use what you've got on hand. We're going to let these roast off and get some nice color on them. And then I'll be back and we'll start our sauce for the entomatadas. So while we're waiting on our onions and peppers to roast, I'm going to go ahead and get my other ingredients together. Our filling for the entomatadas are going to be onion and queso fresco. So I want this shredded or grated. So I'm just going to take a fork to it and grate this block off so that it's ready to use. And then I'm going to finely dice some white onion because it's going to be fresh and raw inside of the entomatadas. So I don't want big chunky pieces. If you want big chunky pieces, by all means, just go ahead and do a regular dice. But I'm going to do a little bit finer dice on it. Get all this broken up. Alright, so I'm not trying to make just a ton of entomatadas this morning. Just probably about 3 a piece. And I've got my cheese mainly broken up. I'm going to finely dice half a white onion, and part of that is going to go in to the cheese. as our filling. You can see maybe that our onions are starting to roast. They're starting to get some color on them. Yes, I do want that blackened color. That's what's going to give us a nice roasty flavor. Just keep an eye on them. I've turned them down a little bit, but I still have some that don't have any color on them at all. So we're just going to keep rolling with that. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and finally dice some more onion. So I know I'm kind of going backwards here for you guys. I'm going to slice into the onion this way, keeping my hand flat so that it is out of the way of the blade. I know you've seen this a million times, and we're going to come in and a little 1/4 inch, I guess, vertical cuts. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to just do some, hold this together a little bit, some really fine dice. And I can use a little bit of this on top of the entomatadas when we plate. I'll also be cutting some cilantro for some garnish as well. And I haven't decided whether I want to, yeah, I know I'm not holding my hand right. So that looks a little big. I'm going to go ahead and run my knife through it. For the most part, that's pretty good. I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup maybe into my cheese, and the rest of this I'm going to put it in my little handy dandy deli container. If you have been to the markets and you buy salsa from us, you know we sell our fresh salsa in these containers. They're dishwasher safe, they're recyclable, they're really soup containers, so you can use them in the microwave, but I use them instead of different shaped Tupperwares, because all my lids fit every one of these. No matter what size I have, it'll fit. So let me go ahead and dice up the rest of this onion while I'm at it. So I don't know if you can see, but we're getting some nice color on the onions. I'm going to flip the peppers around. We want to make sure they get roasted off too. A few more minutes on that. In the meantime, I'm going to start getting our tortillas ready. I'm not going to heat these in oil and make a huge mess. I'm already making a big enough mess this morning. I'm going to spray them lightly on one side with some cooking spray, and then I'm going to put them in a Ziploc bag, and I'm not going to seal the bag. I'm going to put them in the microwave for about a minute. And that will soften them. I don't know about y'all, but y'all hate twist ties. Seems like you know which way you're supposed to go, and then all of a sudden, it's like going the other way, and you've wound it up even tighter. Yeah. Anyway, all right, success. So, I don't know how many I want to do this morning. Like I said, maybe 3 apiece. One for good measure, just in case I screw something up. Then we have a little bit of this Mexican sour cream. The Mexican sour cream to pour on top as well. I'm going to spray the first one and turn it upside down. Then I'm going to spray the second one and just lay it on top of it, so that each side will get a little bit of that lubrication there. And let's spray the last one. This is a little trick that I learned from Rick Bayless. So if it's good enough for Rick Bayless, it's good enough for me. How about that? So I'm just going to fold this under, and I'll put it in the microwave for 1 minute exactly, and then I'll get them out, and they'll be ready to stuff. I need to get my salsa together, blend up my onions and any other peppers that I want to go in it, and cook the sauce off for just a few minutes. We'll be back. So it just occurred to me that I was videoing this in vertical format, and I'm really sorry about that. It is early, and I didn't even think about going into that horizontal format. So we're just going to go with how we're doing it and make the best of it. It's time to do the sauce. Now I'm going to be using some of our Just Hot Enough bread. I had a sample left, and I'm going to use that. And we're going to use some chicken broth because you do want this to be a brothy sauce. But the first thing I want to do is give these onions a little buzz. Then I'm going to add the salsa in and buzz that up. I do want some consistency here. I don't want it like super fine. So everything is locked in here. I'm going to hit this just a couple of times. There's this all together. Now, this would be your Roma tomatoes if you had roasted some Roma tomatoes, and peppers and garlic and cilantro. It's got everything in there. Like I said, I do want some consistency in here. I don't want it to be super fine. I'm going to go ahead and add a little oil to my pan. I just coated the bottom of the pan, probably 2 tablespoons, generous tablespoons. Oh yeah. We got the sizzle. Let's pour everything in. Set that behind me, and I'm going to move you guys a little bit closer over here so you can see what we're doing. Alright, yeah, I think you can see. So I'm just going to start stirring this around. I'm going to turn it up a little bit, and I'm working with an electric stove, so it takes a minute. But we had a good sear on it. We're going to cook this down until it becomes really pretty thick and concentrated. Now, I haven't added any salt to this simply because my salsa already has salt in it. So I'll do some adjustments at the end. If you're using tomatoes and nothing had salt, by all means, sprinkle some seasoning in there along the way. But we're going to wait and see how it goes. So it's going to spit on me if I don't keep stirring it. I'm going to stir it periodically and start letting it evaporate off. So as soon as this cooks down, I'll be back and show you what the consistency is, and then we'll add the chicken broth. We want this to kind of get a little darker, change color. We still have quite a bit of liquid in here. But it is starting to darken up on us. Caught it just in the nick of time. It was just starting to kind of stick a little bit on the bottom, but you work that liquid back in it and it comes right off. Kind of like being deglazed. So I'm going to have to pay some attention to it now. Alright. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and add some chicken broth to it. And again, you can use vegetable broth if you want. I probably used about 2 cups out of this. I'll give it a little bit more. And then I'm going to turn this back up, bring it up to a simmer. And we're going to let this cook for 10 to 15 minutes. Not too long. I just want all the flavors to to marry, and then we're going to taste it, adjust our seasoning if we need some salt. And I'll have a little cilantro, and then we'll assemble these entomatadas and possibly fry a couple of eggs to go on top. We'll see. That is a nice and spicy little broth there. I just gave it a taste. It does need some salt. I'm going to start off with about like that, and then a little bit more. So if I had to guess, that's going to be between 1/2 and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Going to give it a little stir. Okay, so we're going to cook a couple of eggs to go on top of the entomatadas. Just however you want your eggs. If you wanted them scrambled, that's fine. Hard fried. I'm going to try to do his a little over medium, and we'll see if I got my nonstick surface back on this steel pan over here. That's what I was working on before I started breakfast. Let me give this sauce a little stir just to kind of give you an idea of how that looks. It's brothy. It's got some texture to it. I'm going to turn this up just a tad here while I'm cooking the eggs. And I'm going to zap those tortillas real quick, and then we'll put this stuff together. Alright, so we've got those eggs going over there. I don't know how good I did on that non-stick. We'll just have to see. Puppies, they're waiting in the wings. They think they're going to get something. So grab all our plates, our filling, and our tortillas. These tortillas are nice and hot, and they're probably too hot for me to reach in there with my bare hands, so let me grab some tongs. Alright, get a ladle for our broth, our tomato sauce. Alright, so these tortillas are just going to come apart. I'm going to add some of our filling. Do the other two out here on the board. Ouch. A little filling. Alright. Turn that off now. So I'm going to put just a little bit of this sauce on the inside, just to kind of season that cheese a little. Not too much. And then I'm going to fold them up. And lay them in. And then we're going to sauce these, and you're going to want to cover. We're not going to roll them. We're going to want to cover that entire tortilla with your sauce. And ultimately it should fill the well of this little dish that I'm using. We want to make sure those are all covered really nicely. I'm going to put just a little bit more of the regular plain queso fresco, not cotija, but queso fresco. But you could certainly put cotija on here on top. Now I'm going to put the eggs that I butchered on top, but you know, just pretend. pretend it looks good. We'll turn it over. There. And maybe just a little more cheese. Some cilantro. If you're not a cilantro lover, leave it out. And then let's get a spoon and put a little sour cream on top. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of this on top. My jar was almost empty. Didn't realize. A little bit more. You could use regular sour cream if you had that. Come off. All right. So, what do you think? I think that looks pretty good. We'll go in for a taste test. So we're going to go in for a taste test on the Entomatadas. The Tom in Entomatadas stands for the tomato sauce. It's queso fresco and some eggs, and one of the eggs I murdered, but the rest of the other one I think is good. How's it taste?
Very good.
It's almost like huevos rancheros, sort of, kind of the sauce, yeah. So, all right, well, that does it for this video. We will see you guys in the next one, and it'll be a horizontal video instead of the vertical video. But maybe we can put all the ingredients and the how-to on the sides to make it not so intolerable. So until next time, have a great day.